The madness begins anew! What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, okay. More animals, more grinding. What? Ghosts are fucking with me now. No, you don't. You stay here. Hell is your home now, chicken. Don't look at me with those eyes. Don't try to make me feel bad. That's right. That's right. It's not gonna work. Grind, grind, grind. I would be lying if I said I don't enjoy grind. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Go away, Ghast. Don't shoot your fireballs at me. Maybe if I go the other way. This is why I have the option of going through this tunnel. This is kind of Freudian. It's a long red tunnel in darkness. Can I? Haven't I? No, I've been here. I know where this is. Gotta remember the early days when all I had was that stupid shitty shack. And I was exploring pretty much without any kind of protection or preparation. Those were fun days too, but in a less ha-ha fun and more of a, oh shit, I might die kind of way. This gets me away from ghasts without them being able to see me. How do I get there? Do I... Oh, I have to. I have to. Unless I just... Hold on. To eat. My potato! My potato! My potato. Pigmen are always after my potato. I see you over there craving my McNuggies. Get in line, buddy. What's the matter, Ronald Coon? Could it be you're craving my McNuggies? This week on 5-Year-Old Memes, probably longer than that. I'm losing touch with how long it has been since shit that I like was popular. Up I go. Hopefully not down unexpectedly. There we go. I'm locked in. This is so bizarre conceptually. I'm invading hell in order to mine it for crystals. Thank you, Mojang. And that's not even sarcastic. This is an interesting gaming experience. We could not have in a timeline where Notch was not autistic. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't like that. None of that. None of that now. There's more over there. How to choose, though? There's some red above me. I'm going to go for that. 7 levels. That's not bad. That was pretty fast. So what about economics? Every professor I had in college was a communist, and that's not even an exaggeration. One even introduced himself as Adrian the Communist. That's the cringiest shit you've ever heard of, probably, if you're like me. I really wish I had recorded it so that I could, like, blackmail them into better grades or something. And he started making the lesson plan about communism when I think we were trying to discuss, like, narrative, something rather than film theory. I had a lot of professors like that who turned the class into whatever their pet issue was and completely ignored the actual issue that I was there to learn about. Because they, for the first time in their lives, had a platform and they were going to talk about their pet issue no matter what. And the other kids just listened because, hey, here's an adult that's not my parents, but they have some kind of authority and they sound really smart to me. So whatever they say must be true and I should just lap it up. The problem is, why do you have communist professors teaching about capitalism? You're going to get 100% of the focus on its shortcomings and 0% is going to be on its strengths. And it has strengths. It has strengths. For example, in the same way that evolution fills every possible niche in an ecosystem, capitalism, being that it's also a optimizing process, fills every possible niche in the market. Any product you can imagine that would be useful to anybody, with very few exceptions, has already been made by someone. So if you need something, if you need a tool or a garment or software, just imagine if you can figure out what it is you need and put it into a search engine. 9 times out of 10, it already exists, and you can find it for sale someplace online. And that's pretty cool. And most of the acrimony against capitalism comes from people who don't want to have to compete in order to live. That's fair, but that's kind of philosophical. That's not, within the realm of practical reality. The reality is that in order that all the stuff they associate with basic rights requires human labor to create it. Your food requires human labor to create it. Your clothes require it. That stuff is not. Increasingly, that's done by robots. But at least in the past, when people were saying this stuff should be free, what they're really saying is I should be able to enslave the people who make this stuff and not compensate them with my money. You can't just ignore where shit comes from and say, how come this isn't free? Because you're basically saying, why won't other people give me the products of their labor without me compensating them for their work? When people work hard and they figure out how to create some kind of value to sell to other people, capitalism can work very well. It can also work very poorly when it's rigged so that the people who've already won the game are the only winners ever, and it's impossible for anybody to get up to their level. And to some extent that's true, and that's a valid complaint. And the thing is, every example of successful communism I've ever seen, in terms of like workers' cooperatives, took place within an existing capitalist system, which created the infrastructure and the wealth that they started with. So I don't think you can start. I believe even Marx didn't think communism could start by itself organically. It had to grow out of a capitalist system, out of people's disaffection with it. But yeah, of course you're going to have a lot of millennials who hate capitalism because they associate that with why they have to work in order to have money. And they think there's some alternative where, they don't have to work. Maybe basic income, which is actually somewhat realistic if you live in a robust, late-stage, automated country. Because then you don't have to compensate robots for their work. They don't care. Somebody had to build those robots, and the people who built them were capitalists who've already made their money back many times selling products to people. So that's not the issue. The robots largely already exist and have already paid for themselves. If basic income only covers products that are made start to finish by robots, then it's sustainable. Because it's basically just a token system for having the robots make you something that you want. The problems only arise when you attach basic income to products that can't be made by robots. Because then you're basically telling somebody in a factory somewhere, you have to work and create something for somebody, and you don't get compensated for it. There's also a lot of validity to complaints that excess value is extracted from workers that they never see the benefit from. But how are they able to work in such a way as to create that value? Somebody had to buy or build the machinery. Somebody had to buy or build the factory. Somebody had to organize that. And if it were easy, workers everywhere would already be doing it. So evidently it's not easy to get something like that started, and therefore it merits a higher degree of pay. Even if you feel it's not worth that, in pragmatic terms it is. If you can't start a business, then why do you deserve to be paid the same as somebody who can? So it may surprise you to learn that I support a higher minimum wage, but that's because the minimum wage has been a ripoff for a long time. It has been. It has not kept... Oh shit, my EXP points. No, they burned away, no! It has been a ripoff because it has not kept pace with inflation. Inflation should see us with a over $10 an hour minimum wage now. So I don't support 15, but I do support somewhere in the vicinity of $10 or $11 an hour. Just because if cost of living continues to increase, but pay does not, then people effectively get poor. They get less wealthy, even though they're doing as much work as they used to or more. And most reasonable people on either side of the economic and political divide can agree on stuff like that. There's stuff they can agree on, but they just don't admit it because they don't want to give any ground while the tankies, the hardliners of either side are listening. If we could just get the reasonable people in a room together, I think we could iron something out. We could work something out. Clearly, we need whatever system we choose to be based around capitalism, or it's not going to work. I know there's some people who can't agree with that, but whatever. But clearly, we can't just have it be capitalism because there's booms and busts. And if you don't have any kind of safety net, when there's an economic bust, then you have people dying in the streets of exposure, of cold weather and starvation. And those are people who were perfectly good human beings who did not get there by any poor decisions. They just got there because of how capitalism implodes periodically. Even from a heartless perspective, as an employer, you should not wish to see perfectly good employees dying in the streets because of something like that. When you can spend a small amount of money taken from people who have more than they'll ever need in their lives to save the lives of the people who would otherwise die every time there's an economic collapse. So, there's merit to socialism and there's merit to capitalism. We need and already have a mixture of the two, and that's why we're moving towards a mixture of the two, because we can have the best of both worlds. We can have the productivity of capitalism, but we have to spend a little bit of that product of what it makes for us on social safety nets in order to... It's like trying to have a living organism that's all muscle or all fat. It doesn't work. You need a mixture of muscle and fat. If you don't have the muscle, then you can't support the fat. If you don't have any fat, then there's a lot of medical issues, then you're going to starve pretty much immediately anytime that there's a deficit of food. If that makes any sense. There's just extremists on both sides who ideologically hate each other so much they can't admit that a mixture works well. This is how you get indoctrinated students who believe there's nothing good about capitalism. Capitalism drives down prices, man. It does more to industrialize and develop a country faster than anything else. But if we had a purely capitalist country, it'd be Ayn Rand's wet dream, but it would be miserable for basically everybody who's not watching this from aboard their personal yacht right now. Pure capitalism is really ugly and not a good time for almost anyone. It's really just describing society as ordered for the benefit of the poor versus society as ordered for the benefit of the wealthy. And there's nothing inherently evil about being wealthy, so society should be ordered in a way that's a compromise, so that the wealthy can live and enjoy their lives, and so can the poor, who can maybe get a leg up and not have as miserable a life. Even if they don't create much of value, even if they're not worth $15 an hour, and all they're able to do is flip burgers. If it's possible to balance things out such that they can have at least a comfortable and dignified life and a safe life, why not? Why not? You'd have to just be a dick who wants to punish people for being sucky in order to say those people should suffer just because they don't do anything that's worth money to me. I don't think they should get drastically more than the value they create, but I also don't think that they should suffer. I'm not out to punish people. Some people are obsessed with punishment. These are the people who want there to be drug testing for welfare, for example, even though it winds up costing us way more money. It's like, okay, there's a lot of people out there, fair enough, who are poor because they make bad decisions and they're drug addicts, but you punish everybody by making it cost more if we test them. If you insist on testing them just because on principle you don't want people to get free money from the government who are poor because they're on drugs. So you have to, it's counterintuitive. You have to let go of your desire to punish somewhat in order to have an efficient social safety net. There's strong personalities on both sides, and that causes a lot of problems. Ego and strong personalities and strong ideological and philosophical opinions cause no end of trouble for people who just want an efficient system of human life support, basically. Nobody cares about your economic opinions. Until I put on the mask, right? No! Even if you wore the mask, they still wouldn't care about your stupid fucking economic opinions. That's savage, Bane. I can't help but admire you for it. I'm not gonna risk it, that's stupid. For like 2 or 3 quartz pieces, are you kidding me? Are you squidding me? You might be squidding me. Oh, it's so tantalizing, but if I go down there, it's gonna be a bitch to get back up. And if I mine those, probably the XP goes directly in the lava. That's the danger of the Nether, man. It tantalizes you with stuff just out of your reach. And meanwhile, the whole time you're above a fucking lake of lava. How did you know I was this easy to manipulate? But yeah, that makes me sick. I agree there shouldn't be equal time for like creationism and evolution, because only one of those is true. But with economics, it's much more nuanced, and if anything, capitalism has a greater... Shit! Whoa! Greater claim to legitimacy than communism, which has only ever worked on a small scale within the context of an already extant, successful capitalist economy. Yeah, I think it appeals to students in their 20s because it's poor, it appeals to their heart, their desire to help the needy without really thinking hard about the causes of poverty, and that not every poor person is a saint. A lot of them, rape and steal your shit in order to buy drugs, and they're poor because of that. Not all of them, obviously. Some people emotionally overreact. They say, oh, well, you're saying fuck all poor people. No, I'm not. I never did. Some people just want to hear that. because then they have a better case against you than if you'd said something more reasonable, like what you actually said. Oh shit, this is my old base, isn't it? This is my old fucking base. Holy shit. This is where my base used to be, but something happened, and a ghast spawned in the middle of it. A fucking ghast spawned inside my nether base and wouldn't go away. Would not go away, which completely prevented me from being able to take it back, being able to recover any of the sunken resources, which I'm going to take now, thank you very much. Give me those fucking funnels. Give me those funnels. Yes, that's right. Now I can make a auto smelter back at my new base. Okay, what's in here that I want to take with me? Food. I never thought I was going to find my old base here. That's mind-blowing. That's some valuable shit right there. Funnels take a lot of iron to make. I'm going to make a memorial. I don't need that. I'm so far. Tried so hard. But in the end, it didn't even. No. I'm close to that, gay, but not quite. Okay, I'm content with that. It's censored my fucking swear word, but you know what? That's adequate. I'm satisfied. I could always reclaim this, but there's no real reason to. I'll take these with me. More valuable stuff. Ooh, nether brick. Oh, I want to, but I think I've got everything of value from here. I don't need this egg. What's this doing here? I can make more space by doing this. I wanna take more shit. Yeah, I'll take more of this and more. I don't need melons. I can grow melons. Let me take some of these stoves. Alright, I think that's it for space. I can't believe I found it. An environment ahead. That was so long ago, and the space is still here. I have no idea where the portal for that even was. Memories, all alone in the moonlight. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Something. Dudes in spandex dancing around. Cats is kind of a... Like, I enjoyed cats more when I was young and I didn't know what furries were. That takes some of the enjoyment out of cats for me. How far am I from my original base? Am I gonna get lost here forever? I fucking hope not. Here's a tunnel. I'll follow the tunnel. Wait, is this just goes to my base though? Yeah, it does. That doesn't fucking help me at all. It doesn't help me at all. I need to find my base. I'm getting kind of nervous. Okay, calm down. It's not an adventure if nothing goes wrong. Now that I'm lost, it's actually life or death. And if I die in the fucking nether, then I lose all my enchanted gear too. I don't even have any anti-fire potions. What am I doing? I thought I was prepared, but I'm like a babe in the woods. And not the delightful talking pig either. My sister used to love that fucking movie. And I would take pieces of bacon at breakfast and make them talk to her in Babe's voice until she would cry and get angry. Learning about sadism starts at home. Why didn't you save me? I thought we were friends. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wait a minute, there's one right here. How much is there? Not very much. Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. That's never worked. Just chanting don't fall has never stopped me from falling in the history of this game. I don't know why I thought it would start now. The shit I go through for fucking nether quartz. I've 23 points now, levels, whatever. I think I need like 38 in order to fix my helmet. I've still got my shovel to worry about. Shit. I should be mad, but it's just that leveling up this way is so much easier than the alternative of actually having to fight mobs. Okay, I recognize this. This is where I didn't want to go down because that's not worth enough. If I go through here, will I find it? I think so. There's stairs. But then I think that'll just put me where I was before. Yeah, this looks familiar. What have I done? I dug too deep, too greedily. What have I done? Will I ever see my base again? Oh yeah, here it is, the fucking glass. No! No! Gas clusterfuck in that way, gas orgy. I want no part of that. I always do this. Whenever I need to level up, I get fucking lost in the nether, and I always find my way back, but it's never clear that I'm going to. So either it's easier than I think to get back to where you started in this realm, or I've just been lucky every time. Just dumb luck. I don't want to burrow down into fucking lava. I think I'm magnetic to experience, apparently. Not like in real life. In real life, I'm magnetic to fines and having my picture put up in businesses. It says, don't let this guy in. Just kidding. Somewhat. Fuck! God damn it, why you gotta be right there? Why you gotta be right there? And here I am out of arrows. Why did I go grinding without arrows? I'm gonna forget these lessons immediately, I guarantee you. None of this is gonna sink in. I can't afford not to do this. I have to keep grinding. Because I can't afford to lose the helmet. When you live full-time underwater, you kind of need a Respiration 3 helmet. Otherwise, you're stuck carrying a bucket and doors around like some kind of goob. Like this kind of goob, right here. Specifically. Glad I repaired my pick. I'm doing a lot of fucking mining on this trip. This is what I came here for, isn't it? I came here to mine the Nether. To take all of its resources for my own. And that was what the base was for, wasn't it? So what's there to be, you know, worried about except not actually being able to benefit from it because I die and lose the experience and also all my enchanted gear. Alright, that's valid. That's a valid fear. Then again, the Nether is a series of interconnected caverns, so it's not like... I mean, if I just explore these caverns, I should eventually come back to where I started. It's a series of tubes. The internet's a series of tubes. Like my octogenarian digestive tract and butthole. He was actually trying to make an analogy there between the width of the tube and the bandwidth. It's hard to feel too sorry for him being misrepresented, though, because I think he was against net neutrality. Don't get me wrong, the right is a bunch of scum. More often than not, they're just protecting the rich. But the left often misrepresents stuff that right-wingers say to make them seem stupid, which you typically don't really need that much help with, but it's still kind of a low-down, dirty tactic to take something that has a perfectly coherent meaning if you bother to understand what he's saying. The issue being is they're often not skilled public speakers, so they don't come across the way they intend to, and they don't fully express their intended meaning. Often these are really old men, too, so they're not all there upstairs the way they once were. So that's one of the reasons capitalism is in poor shape around the world. The spokespeople are not compelling. Number one, there's not a lot of them because colleges have been totally taken over by people advocating for communism. And number two, the spokespeople they do have are generally not very good at it. Also not trendy, not attractive, which plays a larger role than you might expect in the adoption of a political ideology. Sadly, what is politics but a popularity contest anyway? Also, a lot of people are pushed towards communism because they think that's the only alternative to capitalism, when that's not true. Because a system predicated on automation, where it's no longer fundamentally about how to compensate workers for their labor, how to distribute finite goods to infinite demand, it fundamentally changes the game. We need a new model based around the assumption of widespread, robust automation that can turn raw resources into finished products without a human hand ever touching it. Because that makes a meaningful difference. People like, that sounds like communism, because they misunderstand it. Communism doesn't mean free handouts. It means everybody gets a job and is forced to take the job they are assigned, or otherwise they go to the gulag. Communism is supposed to mean 100% employment, not 0%. It's true that Marx did predict a late stage of communism wherein everything was automated, but communism is not and never was the way to get there. You need business to advance the robotic technology and to implement it, to build it out of greed in order to get it built, in order to get something that expensive and large actually funded. So you let greed build the robots for you, and then you use the robots to render that model irrelevant. The fuck? Oh yeah, okay. I need to put this somewhere. Probably just in the corner. Now I can do repairs. I can do repairs without having to leave the Nether. Because who would ever want to leave this lovely place? A lot of the time, the hatred, the vitriolic hatred you get from people saying these kinds of things, even though you don't say them in an insulting way, it's just because they feel very strongly about it, but they're not very good at defending it. And they feel savaged and overwhelmed, and they're sure that you're wrong and you're being deceptive and evil, but they can't say quite how, like in what way you're being deceptive or evil. So that they just channel all of that confusion and frustration into physical aggression and anger at you. And then later on, if they realize they're wrong to do it, you maybe get a half-hearted, private apology out of them or something. As if that's fucking good enough. I don't really have a horse in the race necessarily. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways we could go that would all work. It's just a question of how well and what they would work at doing. Like, what's your victory condition? What do you hope to achieve with the economic model that you ultimately gets implemented? When someone says X or Y works, like something or other works, you have to say, what does it work at? What is it successful at achieving relative to competing models? Pure capitalism is very good at making the rich richer. So you could say it works in that respect, but it's not very good at creating a livable quality of life for the majority of humans. Let's see. There we go. I'm just micromanaging, so I don't have to build more chests just yet. I only have 28. I should have 32 by now. I really don't want to go back out there. That was fucking harrowing. That was scary. I think I'm done for today. Next time is just going to be more fucking grinding, though. I can't get away from it. I have to get 32 EXP in order to repair my helmet. Otherwise, I'm not going to have an underwater breathing helmet, and that won't stand. That won't do. I need an underwater helmet to live in the overworld because I made the expensive and impractical decision to live underwater, which is the sort of thing I would really do in real life. I'm always making expensive and impractical decisions. Alright, well that's it for this time. Back into the garden to relax. Maybe pet the cow. Let me pet you. Let me love you. Let me love you. Love me. Love me. That doesn't work with girls either. Anyways, that's it for this time. Get out of the frame, chicken. Stay out of the frame, chicken. That's it for this time. Come back and watch next time as I once... What did I just fucking tell you?